Happy Crafternoon, everyone. I'm Gina from Gina K Designs, and it's great to see all of you coming in from all around the world. Today is the next installment of our Master Layout series, and we're going to be focusing on Master Layout 16. Master Layout 16 was a die set designed to create elements that work really well with some of our sea life sets. It has a fishbowl, it has a porthole, it has waves, and I'm going to show you how to put all of those things together, but then I'm going to show you some other fun ways that you can use this die set that have nothing to do with sea life, because there is just so much that you can do with it. But before we get started, let's say hello to Tom. Hey, Tom.
Sweet 16.
How are you?
I am better than horrible. Glad to be here. Hi, everybody. Happy Crafternoon.
Hey, you know what I learned?
Okay.
Okay, so I found out I'm hunching over a lot. I don't know if a lot of you hunch over. But
Life does that to you.
A lot. But I found out that, like, if you're standing and you, like, turn your palms outward, like when you're standing, like, oh, it just makes you feel, like, do that right now. Just, like, put your arms down at your side and then turn your palms face forward. Do you feel like your posture change? I've been trying to do that, trying to get my posture better. Because I feel like I'm, like, I don't know, maybe I'm on my phone too much or something.
Isn't that the statue on the mountain in South America?
It may be.
He's trying to...
But that statue has great posture, you have to admit.
Great posture on that, yes.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, Tom, everybody, I already saw people saying I can't wait for the word of the day. So do you have a word of the day today?
I have a double.
You have a double?
2 words of the day related.
Ooh, that's
You know, you
fun.
you find one, and you can't help but include the next one.
Yeah, you keep going. I love those.
Okay.
I absolutely love those. All right, well, why don't we get started right away, because I have a lot to show people today. Okay, so if you're new to the Master Layout series, on our blog, if you go to ginakdesigns.com and you click the blog tab, there is an entry that's called Templates and Charts. Click on that and you will find all of the digital downloads starting from this binder cover all the way through Master Layout 16. And each time I do a new Master Layouts video, I upload a new sizing sheet and a new idea sheet. So this is what the binder looks like. And just a reminder for anybody who may have forgotten, or if you're new, this little QR code will take you right to that page on our website, so you can always download the next greatest sizing sheet and idea sheet. All right, so this binder is Master Layouts 13 through 18. I'm on my 3rd binder now. And so let's turn to the next section, which is Master Layouts 16. Now, I wanted to show you something else that I did here. First of all, I have the Master Layouts 14 sizing sheet. I'm sorry, this is 14. I want to go to 16. Oh, did I print the wrong one today? I think I printed the wrong one. So normally we would have Master Layouts 16 sizing sheet in here. I must have printed the wrong one because I was in a hurry, but I'll print the right one. So that would go here in the binder. And then I want to show you this, because this was something that I had made when we released the set to show everybody all the different dies that are in the set. And I think for some die sets like this, and maybe Master Layouts 7 or 6 rather, the one that's, you know, all the landscaping parts, I think it's helpful to have a page that has all of the different pieces cut out and then taped or glued down. Now this was kind of beat up because I had just thrown it in the corner after I showed everything that was released that night. But I'm keeping this with my Master Layouts binder because I think it's very useful. And for these ones that have a lot of smaller little elements like this is really good if you lose an element and then you find it and you're like, what in the heck does that go to? You can page through these for these die sets that are like scene building, piece building die sets, and you can figure out what that goes to just by taking a look at this. Now, I also think it's neat to have these, because when you look at the dies for these, let me find the die set, they're just straight little, straight little blades. But to be able to see what they look like and how you can kind of create a pattern going down your paper, that makes this maybe make a little bit more sense. So this might be a new addition for these scene building types of master layouts, to add a chart like this in your binder. And we all like to die cut, and we like to play with things. And also, these little dots here that fell out, I just put them over here because they make cute little embellishments. So you can always save those and use them to decorate your cards in other ways. So I kind of like having this. So then here is my idea sheet. These are 4 layouts that you can do. So this is the fishbowl die. This is, maybe I should take this out so this could be a little more helpful. So this little concoction here, this fishbowl, consists of these 2 dies, this die, and these 2 dies. And I'm going to show you how to build this. My goal today is to show you how to build each one of these elements and then show you a couple card samples. And we'll probably make a card in there too. And then this one uses the porthole elements, which is this die, this die. These 2 fall out of here, and they layer pretty nicely with a little bit of a thicker border, which I'll show you in a second. But these 2, this die, and this die. So that's what makes this porthole. Now, you can also make a snow globe by using the fishbowl. So that is this die, this die, this die, which is the sand here, but if you flip it over and you just trim it straight, it makes a little snow hill. And then this die for the base. And then over here, we have this element where it creates a really neat pattern going down your card. This can be used for any single card you want to make. It's just a really cool background. And you can see here you can put them all together touching, or you can space them out and have spaces in between them for a whole different look. Now let me show you my little card samples that I made. My little cards that you can like lay things on. And also I do have my tri-cuts, which, where did those go? Oh, they're on the back of this. Here, where did my tri-cuts go? Here they are. So these are my tri-cuts. I cut all of the different images out. This way, if you wanted to use some of these parts for other things, for example, let's say you have a greeting, and you wanted to see what the 2 holes of these 2 dies here look like when they fall out, how they look together. You can use your little tri-cuts to see what that would look like. Maybe you don't have a plain circle this size. Maybe you don't have one this size. You can see how they layer together and how you might use this for a greeting. And you can just layer a clear stamp over that and see if that would fit. Also, this porthole die, see how these go together to create that porthole. These, either one of these makes a really cool frame, like a grounding element for a card project. You know, a lot of times I use circles or I use ovals. Well, this one would have an open window behind it, so you could decorate the inside with some of the waves or just with a little ink blending, and that would be almost like a little round window. This could also be used as a grounding element. You could also add little posts coming out of here on the 4 sides and make it look like maybe a little ship wheel. So there's other things that you can do with these other than just make it a porthole. Same with this little element here. I mean, you don't have to use this with this set. If you were doing an ink blending ocean scene, I have a card somewhere. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I might not be able to. No. It was a card that Rena made on Craft Roulette, and it was a 5x7 card, and she did some ink blending down the whole thing and then added fish all over the card. You could have a bunch of these going across, so you don't necessarily have to fit those into the fishbowl. So you can use these for other things. I also think this is a really cool element. This doesn't have to be a snow globe or a fishbowl. This could be an element that just comes in from the side of your card. You could have one coming in over here, you could have one coming in over here, and then you could put elements inside of those, little branches, birds, things like that. And this just kind of grounds that image. It gives you kind of like a frame for it. But it's nice because it'll butt right up against the edge of your card. So it's like a circle, but instead of just chopping it off and having just nothingness, you could have a frame on that side as well. Okay. So let's talk about the cards that I made. They're not cards, but you know what I mean, the little panels that I put together. All right. So here is the first one. I want to show you how these look when they're actually built. So this one here is the porthole. Now, you can turn this into a shaker card too by raising this panel up and putting acetate, just a little piece of clear acetate sheet behind it, and then pop it up onto your card base. You can decorate underneath with whatever you want, and then add sequins or shaker bits and put your little fish and stuff inside of that porthole. So this is kind of like you're sitting in your stateroom on your cruise ship and you're looking out at the ocean. You could have a little turtle looking in or a little octopus or something like that. Then with this one, you can see you could do the same thing. You can actually pop this up and put acetate behind it, and then you can make your fishbowl into a shaker card. If you like shaker cards, a lot of you really enjoy shaker cards. I like them too. I don't always do them, but I do like them. I'll show you a sample of an alternative to a shaker card that gives you the look of the shaker card without the static and the bits and all the other things. So I have that alternative to show you as well. And then this one, this is just the fishbowl. Here's the fishbowl, right? Where you put that little bottom on there. This is just the fishbowl flipped upside down. Now you can put a little snowman in there. You can put little trees. You can put all kinds of tiny little elements inside and make a little scene. And if you want, you can make this a shaker card too, and you can put little clear sequins in there, our new little flat crystal clear sequins, and make it like it's snowing. So this is another fun way to use this. It wasn't designed for this, but it's a great use of it, especially for Christmas cards or Christmas tags. And then here I wanted to show you how you can build all of those blades, the little waves. These are meant to be waves, so you could do them in different colors of blue to be like a wavy background for a sea life card. But this is a great background for any card. Here I made a rainbow, and you could put a big hello greeting on there. You could do this in your favorite pinks and oranges and purples and make a fun card for the, a fun background for a little girl's birthday card. So many different ways to use it. You can also use these as mountains for scene building cards. So if you imagine that you ink blended a sky down to here, and then you added these in, they're a little bit more of a modern look. You know, we have mountains in our Master Layouts 6. We have more of the jagged type of mountains. But here, if you wanted a more curvy, more modern style, you could use this for that. So those are the 4 ideas that I showed in the idea sheet here. But it's always good to have them in real life sizes, because if you have a snowman or you have a little tree or something and you want to see if it will fit. I don't think I have anything here, but here's some like little mittens. If I wanted to just see if they would fit inside there, it would be very easy to be able to do that by having these already built in your binder.
Question, Donna wants to know, is that Master Layout 2 behind the images?
the only one here that has master, let me get this back in. There's only one that has master layouts 2 behind it, and that is, I'll show you. Oh my goodness, what is wrong here? That is this one. You can see the little stitching here. Can you see the stitching on that? And I'm going to show you how to do this because there's a way to do this that makes it very easy. You don't want to have it too thick or it's not going to cut right. So I'm going to show you how to do it. The rest of them are sized for master layouts too, but I just cut them with a paper cutter. You'll see there's no stitching on any of these. Okay, so let's get started building these elements so you can see how easy they are to put together. So one thing that I would recommend is a pair of tweezers. I like to have a pair of tweezers, and reverse tweezers are the best. Yes, you can pluck a chin hair with this if you need to, but the thing that's nice about these, the reverse tweezers, they're great for a lot of things. They're certainly great for placing die cuts and greetings on your card. But the other thing that I really like about these is this. I think this is like the greatest thing. Let's say you have a piece of ribbon here and you want to tie it around a card, right? All right. So let's try to tie this here. Okay. Now, normally you have to kind of like do this and then you got to figure out a way to like hold it down, right? If you tie this tight and then you put your reversible tweezers there, it's going to hold it in place for you. So then you've got free hands to make your loops. So I love a reverse tweezer for that purpose. So for those of you that love ribbon and you don't have anybody around during the day that can like put their finger there and hold it in place for you. I used to wake Tom up in the middle of the night to like, can you just push your finger down here? He'd be asleep and I'd be making cards. But you can see the reverse tweezer is the bomb for that. So I just wanted to show you that quick little tip. If you get nothing else out of this video, maybe that will help you wrapping your holiday gifts or adding bows and ribbons to your tags and stuff like that. Okay, so I have a whole bunch of pieces here that I cut out, and I'm just going to spill them all out here. We're not going to use all of them today, but there are some little tips and tricks I want to show you to make this whole thing look a little bit better. All right, I'll get this one out too. So I just cut a bunch here. Now, the first one I want to build is the porthole, okay? So to build the porthole, and I'm going to put a different color paper down. Let's just get a different color paper here so that it's easy to see, because there's a lot of gray going on here. So here I used soft stone, and this one is stormy sky. I like to cut this one out in a lighter color than this one, because you're going to be layering these two together, and then that kind of makes the look of the little rivets or whatever those would be in your porthole, okay? And then when it comes to the handle, now I've seen people put the handle on a couple different ways. I want to show you the way I put the handle on, and I think I'll use 3 handles there. And then I'm going to use, let's see, I'm going to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these. And I'm going to actually use 2 of these. And this is going to allow us to create lots of depth and dimension in this little porthole, okay? Now I'm going to use Connect glue with the fine tip bottle. I find that it's a little easier to build these smaller images using glue than it is with tape. So I'm going to use my reverse tweezers to hold this. And then I'm going to just put a little bit of Connect glue all over this. Like that. Okay. Now you're going to take your second one, and you're going to line it up the best that you can. Now, don't worry if it's not perfect. You will have some wiggle room because it's glue. But that looks pretty close there. And if it's not perfect, you can take your reverse tweezers and you can kind of like go around in a circle there, and that'll kind of line everything up for you. Okay. And then we're just going to glue those together. Now you can layer up as many of these as you want to make it as thick as you want for the front of this piece. It just creates more depth and dimension. I only have 2 cut out because I had a bunch of them cut out that I used for that sample in the book and for other things. But, you know, I love creating depth and dimension. I just think it's really cool. So by layering them together, you'll get a really good look. All right, so now we're going to do that again. We're going to layer these together. A little bit of glue here. It's kind of moving around on me because I don't have it too far in the tweezer. All right, now this one, you want to line them up perfectly. And that's a little easier to do because they're both the same size. And then that gives you that nice little rim in the center, that little accent frame in the center there that makes it look more like a porthole. Okay, now this would go directly onto your cardstock. All right. You can put it flush. You can put foam squares around it. You can put, you know, a shaker strip all around it and create a shaker card. But if you wanted to make this a actual shaker card, what I would do is I'm going to grab some scissors here. Now you can cut this with the die if you want. What you can do is you can cut it with this big die because that is going to give you a circle that's bigger than the opening. See that? So if you wanted to cut this with a die, you can cut it with the one with the 6 holes in it because what falls out of that one in the center is bigger than the gray part, and so that will line up very nicely on the back. You could put glue right around the perimeter there and put your little acetate there and make a window. Or you can just eyeball it. So I'm going to use this kind of as my guide, and I'm going to cut it a little bit bigger than that. And it's not going to be fancy, and it doesn't have to be fancy because it's going to be hidden behind everything. And this could make it a little bit quicker and easier for you. So we're just using what fell out of the gray one as a guide to make that window. And then that will fit perfectly. That'll hide on the back here perfectly. So I'm going to glue that on. Now, you don't have to make yours a shaker card. You can keep it open. But I'm just showing you how to add the acetate on there because a lot of you do like to make a shaker card or even a window card. Because a window, you know, the little acetate just looks like the glass pane of the window. That's kind of what I'm going to be doing here. And it is nice to have the window, especially if you're doing a porthole design, because a porthole is a window on a ship, right? All right, and we're going to lay that down there on the glue. And then just gently, when you're pushing down, push away. Don't push this way, because then the glue could seep in on your window. Kind of push away from the center. Okay, there we go. And so now we have that nice little window in our porthole. So I know I had a love-hate relationship with these tweezers too when I first started using them, and it's only because I was so used to the regular tweezers where when you want to squeeze, you squeeze together. And it was the opposite. But once you get used to them, I promise they will be a lot easier to use. Okay, so now I'm going to build my little handles here. So yes, that's a good idea. Tapping your glue down does get the glue out of that little tube there, and it does prevent the bottle from clogging. All right, so, but I brought all the glue to the bottom now. I got to bring it back up to the top. So I'm going to glue 3 handles together. All right. 1. I used a lot of glue there. Probably didn't need that much, but that's all right. And we'll do a second one here. And here's me forgetting that I already used too much glue and using the same amount of glue on the second one. Okay. And there we go. So now we have this nice thick little element here. And that just gives us more depth and dimension. So I've seen people do this, but this is wrong. It's not wrong. It's not I don't prefer it, okay? I prefer the handle of a porthole to come on the inside like this, because that's what I've seen when you have these kinds of windows. You kind of pull it this way and then open it. So I'm going to put mine this way onto the porthole here. All right. But again, it's totally up to you. You can do it the other way. The other thing I wanted to show you, and this is just a little bit outside the box, but this could also make a really interesting Christmas ornament. So you could design this in Christmas colors, red and green. You could embellish these with sequins or pearls, and then you can use this for the top of the ornament. So it's just another way to make a cute tag or a cute something that you hang on the tree, or, you know, an ornament for your card. Okay. So there we go. I'm just going to put it on this part because that's the only part that's actually going to stick to the card, really. And let's get that straight. I'm going to place it right there. So that looks pretty good, I think. Yeah, like a front-loading washer. Exactly. Exactly. That's the way the front-loading washers work, where you kind of grab the handle and pull in. It could be a front-loading washer. That would be another very fun card to make. That's a great idea. You know, you could make a box here, and then if you have any stamps that are like clothes, you can put them in there, and that'd be kind of cute, actually.
Little reminder card for your returning adult child.
Yeah, exactly. Or send them one, you know, when they're away at college, like, how's it feel now to do your own laundry? All right, now I'm going to do these little pieces here because these are going to be the hinges.
Patricia wants to know, do you ever use the heavier cardstock for what you're doing now?
No, well, I use all of our 100-pound, which is heavy cardstock. So yes, I use all of our 100-pound. I just don't use our 120-pound white or ivory because that's really just made for card bases. But this is all our heavy base weight colored cardstock. All of our colored cardstock now is 100-pound. Okay. Yeah, a washer for a baby card. That would be really cute. All right, I've got 3 of those. They're not really put together very cleanly here. Better than horrible. Okay.
The die makes the handle, right?
This die makes the handle. Yep. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to go ahead and layer these together. So I hope everybody is having a great day today. I know a lot of people are on vacation right now. We have a lot of people out at work. This must be a big vacation week for a lot of people. Maybe they take it like right around 4th of July so that they can continue it on a little bit longer. That would make sense. Okay. So now we're going to add these to the side here, and we're going to do them as straight as possible. So you know what I'm going to do here? I know this is like weird, but I am going to just stick this down onto my sticky mat just so it stops moving around for a second. Okay. So we'll just put a little bit here in the center because I don't know exactly how far it's going to hang over the edge, but I want it to be straight. So we'll put one here, one right up there. Looks straight. Looks pretty straight. Okay. And then we're going to put one below. I know, isn't that fun? I mean, there's so many uses for this already. You know, we just talked about it. I like the idea of the washing machine. That's really cute. But, I mean, a Christmas ornament, just a grounding image. There's so many ways to use it. Okay. So there are the little hinges for that porthole. Now, you could take this and put foam tape all around it and make it a shaker card if you want. Or you can do what I did. So I want to show you a card that I made with it. Here's a little card that I made. And what I did here was I didn't make it a shaker card. I just glued sequins so that you could see them so that they sparkle in there to kind of replicate like the little bit of sparkle from the water. And then I added some little elements from this set. This is called Just Keep Swimming. And I colored the turtle and the little seaweed stuff with the rocks. And you can see, like, you know, this background here that I made with the wave pattern is just showing through on the other side. But it does look like ocean waves back there. So that's kind of fun. Actually, it's not showing through. I made a smaller wave pattern and I flipped the colors upside down. I just made a smaller wave. All I did was just make one of these and then I cut it out with a circle and I just popped it in there behind there just so that the colors were opposite of these colors. That's why it looks a little different. But you don't even have to go that far. You could just pop that right on there and just have the waves show through if you don't have the time to do it. So that is how to make this work on a card. Isn't that fun? And this is from Master Layouts 2. So I used Master Layouts 2 to cut the border shape, the shape of those waves. And I used the little greeting tag, the little strip sentiment from Master Layouts 2. I think that's from Master Layouts 2. I don't want to say the wrong thing. Oh yeah, it is. It's right in there. Master Layouts 2. There it is. There they are. And that fits really nicely with a lot of these greetings. So hope to see you soon. Isn't that fun? Okay. So now that we've put that together, I'm going to show you how to put together the fishbowl. And I'm going to cut the fishbowl elements because I want to show you how I actually cut them. I'm just going to save this for another card for another day. Let me get my die cutting machine. I want to see if I can. I think being close up is probably a good thing so that you can see all of this. And let's use the magnetic mat today. Remember, when you're using the magnetic mat, you have to also use the magnetic platform that comes with it. So you need that 3-piece set to start. And then you can always get replacements of the magnetic mat and clear plate part. You don't always have to rebuy this, but as they get old, you can get replacements. Okay, so let's pick a color here. I'm going to do white just to make it a little bit easier because I have a lot of little white scraps here that I can grab. And I did show you the red one in the book. All right, so with this particular image, die image, we're going to use 2 different dies here. Now, what's fun is if you just wanted to make a snow globe, let's say you wanted to make a whole row of snow globes. Maybe you're making a large slimline card and you have room to put a couple things across. You could have different snow globes in different sizes, like that. And you could have them like sitting on a shelf or whatever. You could probably fit 3 of them on a slimline card. Do it that way. But for the fishbowl, you're going to need both of these. Now with a snow globe, you know, if you want to cut it out and make a shaker card, then you're going to need both of them on one snow globe. But if you just wanted to cut the shape of a snow globe and do ink blending right on there and put pieces, you definitely can do that. All right, so I'm going to cut this out. I don't think I need my die cutting machine quite that tight. So let's cut this out. I think I'm going to cut 2 of them so I can layer them together for a little bit of extra, you know, dimension.
Question, Lois wants to know, could you explain the difference in the pound of paper, such as 100 pound or 80 pound, for those of us that don't know?
Well, the lower the number, the lighter the cardstock. 100 pound is kind of what we use for card bases. 80 pound is a thinner cardstock, so it's going to be easier to die cut little pieces and things like that. It's also great for layer panels on your cards because it, you know, you're going to have that heaviness of the card base to hold everything up. I'd have to do a whole video on that to explain more about cardstock and weights. Okay, so now I'm going to use the smaller die and I'm going to put it inside. Now I have to look at it and make sure that it's even all around. All right. I'm not trying to not answer that question more fully, but there's a lot to it, and you know, I want to kind of stay on this video today, but maybe I can do a video about different cardstock weights because the pound isn't the only thing. It's the stock, because there's text weight that's 100 pound, and that's very light. And there's cover weight, which is 100 pound, which is what we use. So it's pretty extensive and would need more of an explanation than I can do probably in the next few minutes.
I think the pound reference is actually... it's the weight of 500 sheets.
Yes. Yes. And most cardstock, a lot of people use GSM to determine the weight of the cardstock because that actually is
That's more
helpful.
common. Yeah,
it's more common. Yeah.
These days. Yep.
Yep. So yeah, that needs a video. Thanks for the suggestion. That needs a full video. Okay, so there I've cut out the opening, and I can save this for something else. This could be a little element that we put a greeting on, or something that's coming in from the side or the bottom or the other side of the card. So there's one. Now I'm going to do the other one. And you just have to make it look like it's centered here. Now, if you're worried or you don't have a magnetic mat, I would definitely use some masking magic or something to tack this down. Let's make sure that that's pretty good. That looks pretty good to me.
Susie B suggested an igloo scene.
A what?
Igloo scene.
Oh, definitely. That would be adorable. Yes. You could maybe even use our brick stencil with a little bit of gray ink to kind of create the look of the ice bricks. That would be adorable. A little igloo scene. How cute. Okay, so now we have 2 of these that we can layer together to make them a little bit thicker, especially because I am using that 80 pound layering weight cardstock. Now I'm going to cut a couple more dies here from the set. I'm going to spill these dies out. I hope I don't lose any. But I'm going to cut this one and this one. Now for the fishbowl, this is the top and this is the base. For the snow globe, this is the base. I guess you could use this as the base, but I feel like this makes a better base. Okay, So let's see what we can get out of this. Maybe we can get everything we need out of this one little piece. With the magnetic mat, it's a little more helpful because it's not sliding around hidden. And our heavy base weight cardstock, our 100-pound cardstock, is 270 GSM, if anybody is doing GSM. Okay. Alrighty. Which is pretty heavy. Our heavy base weight white and ivory is 300 GSM. Yep, grams per square inch, or per square meter, not inch. That'd be really dense. Mercury level paper. Okay. Let's get that out. And this one out. Okay. Now, I'm going to cut one more smaller one out of these two, a smaller one in a color that can go inside my fishbowl. Now, some people prefer to do the wavy pattern. Some people prefer to ink blend and maybe create a bubble or a splatter, something like that. I'm going to just go ahead and use a little bit of a light color like sea glass or turquoise sea. This is turquoise sea. I feel like I want to go a little lighter than that. Let's see what I have in my blue section over here. Here, this will work better. This is ocean mist. Okay. So I'm going to cut one little piece here out of ocean mist for the inside of my fishbowl. An old diving helmet. That's a great idea. I love all of these ideas that you guys are sharing. It's great. Okay. And then I think I have my pieces already cut out for the rest of this, just to assemble this to show you what it would look like. Okay.
Question from Antoinette. You said on Tuesday that the next kit is Christmas in July. Will you still have a Christmas kit in September as well?
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. All right. Do I want to cut one more? I think I do. I'm going to cut one more. I'm going to take this white piece here and I'm going to cut one more big one, okay? Just because I want this for behind the whole thing. I don't know if I'm going to need it or not, but we'll see. This is if we want to kind of do a shaker look. I could just show you the layers that you would use. And that'll help it make sense a little bit. Okay. So, let's get this back in the picture now here. So the first thing I want to do is I want to layer these two pieces together. And again, I'm going to use my Connect glue for that. And you can do any colors you want here. I mean, silver would be really cool, like a gray or... But a lot of times when I do these kinds of cards, my background, my back panels are very colorful. So when I do something very colorful like that, then I tend to want to have a white fishbowl, like some little stark white popping in. Okay. Now, if you wanted to make this a shaker card, what you would do is you would take that piece of acetate and you're going to cut it to fit. I know this is really hard to see because it looks like nothing. It looks like I'm cutting air. But I would cut this to fit. I just hold it together and cut it just in the shape. And once you go around the whole thing, then what I would do is go around it again just to make it a little smaller, or just slip your scissors underneath the way I'm doing here. See how my scissors are just underneath that acetate? I'm holding the shape, but I'm slipping my scissors underneath so the whole thing is just a little bit smaller. And then you can see nothing is sticking out except at the top there.
Sandy had said, how about a gumball machine?
Oh, that's a great idea too. I love that. Oh, and you can use all the little dots that come off of your porthole. You'd have to cut a million dots, but that would work. Or use pearls or something in there. That would be so cute. Well, a gumball machine would be awesome. And then you would just glue that together to make your fishbowl. Now for this one, I'm not going to do that, but I wanted to show you how to get it solid. Then you could do whatever you want. You know, you could ink blend this panel and then pop it onto that panel. And this way it would be, you know, you'd have space in between to put your shaker bits and your scenery. But I'm not going to make this one a shaker or a window. I'm just going to make it a flat design. Okay? So let me pick a background. I've got a lot of backgrounds under here. See if I have something that will work. Some kind of cool background. Ooh, that's kind of cool. I'll use that. That was just some watercolor ink thing. I think that's pretty cool, and that will look cool behind there.
The ideas are pouring in. Jackie said, how about a wine glass? And then Winan said, Tom, the bowl would make a great vase for succulent plants.
Oh, it would, yes. Oh my gosh, all of these ideas are fabulous. I'm trying to see if I have a better piece of cardstock, a better like design in here. I do like this one, this watercolor one, but you know, I've made so many things. Yes, I know this is a mess, and I'll never organize it ever because it's like grandma's special drawer in her house. For those of you that had a grandma that had a special drawer in her house, like I did, it was like a junk drawer, and it had all these special little like buttons and bits and pieces of things. And the kids, we would just go to that drawer and we would sit for hours and look through it and just look at all the little things that were just fun to look at. This is kind of cool. That is the Petite Flourish embossing folder from a video. Let's use that. That's just pretty. I like this one too, though. I gotta admit, I like this one. I don't know which one to use. But you can get an idea. So, you know, the fishbowl would go on there, and you could see that through. Oh, but you know what? I could do this because it's a cool watery background, and then pop that in there for the water. Maybe I'll do that because this is really watery. I'm gonna just cut this down with master layouts too, because this will be just a good card that I can make something out of later, and I don't want to miss the opportunity here to actually create something. So this is just some watercolor paper, and all I did was ink it up with some Gina K Designs ink, and then I did water over it, and you can see it created that really cool like water spatter look. So hopefully it's thick paper though. So I have my die cutting machine set so tight here because I want to make sure that I can get it through. Okay. Hopefully it cut. Not really, but I still think that that's too tight, so I loosened it. I'll turn it sideways or on an angle if it doesn't cut this time. It's just such thick paper. I think it's like 140-pound watercolor paper. But that cut. I just wanted that decorative edge. I can use that for something too. Can't throw anything away, right? And we'll put that on a black panel. Do I have a black panel here somewhere? Let's cut a black one. They do cut better when you turn them on an angle. And I don't like to use my magnetic mat for this kind of die cutting because I feel like it's kind of senseless and it just puts more wear and tear on your magnetic mat. I like to use the other mat, but it was here, so I decided to do it. All mats over time warp. But the nice thing about the mat that comes with the machine is you can flip it back and forth after each cut to eliminate warping, or at least to stave it off a little bit. But if you, the magnetic mat, you can't do that. You can only cut on one side. So they tend to wear out a little bit more quickly. Still a great product, but I use it mostly when I'm cutting things that have to be very precise, where I don't want to do a lot of taping, or when I'm cutting coordinating dies and stamps, because it's real easy to just pop the die on there and it stays. Okay. Let's get that lined up. There we go. That isn't lined up great, but it's better than horrible. And then that white card base that I tied ribbon around, I think that would be pretty. Good enough. Oh, I like this background paper. This is the kind of stuff that's great to have in your stash when you're just like, you know, you're just in the mood to play with techniques. You just make all these backgrounds, and then when you need one, you just go through your box, grandma's box. Okay. So now I'm just going to do this right onto the cardstock. I'm going to put this on here, and let me see what I have over here. Okay. I think I'll just do it up here, and that will leave room for a greeting if I want to do a greeting later down there. So we'll just add. We could also pop this up with foam squares if you wanted to. Or if you know, do 3 or 4 more together, 3 or 4 more layers, it will look popped up because it'll be nice and thick. And again, that's a textured paper, so you could put an acrylic block over it just to hold it down. Okay, and then this would be my ocean, or not my ocean, my water. So I'm just going to put that inside, and this is a big panel, so I can just do that and fit it in there. Paper piece it in. Okay, so now I want to show you this little piece I die cut. That is the sand that goes on the bottom of the fishbowl. So that's a pretty easy little piece to die cut out. And I used craft cardstock for that. It's like the perfect color for sand. But if you don't have that, or you want to do something else, you can always do some ink blending and maybe a little black spatter on it to create a little textured look. Okay. And then I do have this little seaweed, and I think that green matches this green really nicely. So we're going to put that on there. Okay. And we'll just pop that right into the center there. And then if you have fish images or anything else that you want to put in there, you could pop those up in front of that. So that would, you know, be in the background. And you could do a couple different ones with different colors. You can trim some of the, I'll call them legs, but some of these, you know, branches off to make them look a little bit different too. And then let me show you a card that I made using this little, oh, wait, we got to finish the fishbowl. We got to put the rim on the top and on the bottom. Right now it just looks like it's floating in midair. So I'll put a little, I'm going to layer these again just to thicken them up. What is that little thing on there? I don't want that on there. That's like a little black spot. Okay, it's gone. I'll just layer these together. Okay. And this could also be used around the outside of this to make the wheels of, like the steering wheel of a ship, you know, you can use that and put them on all four sides so that it looks like the wheel of a ship, the steering wheel. Is that what it's called on the ship, Tom? A steering wheel?
The helm.
The helm? Really? I thought the helm was like the room.
I don't know.
I don't know either, so I believe you. Where's our sea people?
We both get seasick.
Our seafarers out there. I know, we do. All right, so there is that on the top. Does that look straight? It looked straight when I looked at it, and then I looked up at the screen and it looked crooked. I think it's close enough. Okay. Yes, you can put acetate on the front to make it look like glass. If you're just tuning in, just rewind just a tiny little bit because I showed how to cut the acetate and I showed what it would look like with the acetate in front of the fishbowl. You could definitely do that. You do it exactly the same way as I did the porthole one. And you can check that out. That's at the beginning of the video. Okay. And then we're going to add a little bit of glue right here. And we'll add this onto the bottom. There we go. So now it looks like a fishbowl. So now let me show you a card that I made, and I used one of our cover plates. It's the Circles cover plate. Brianne helped me with this one, this name. And I just did a rainbow ink blend. And then I colored the little jellyfish, and I put him in a fishbowl. I know it doesn't make sense to have a jellyfish in a fishbowl, but he was so cute that I thought it was so... it was so fun. And then instead of doing just plain here, I did that technique, which I'm going to show you, that technique that I did on the back of this card. I did it and I cut it out using the smaller fishbowl. See, I cut that out using that. And then I popped it right in there. So you can see how easily you can create a little background. I just put some sequins there and I moved that over to the side. But let me show you one with fish that I did because I think it'll make more sense. I also used the same cover plate. Brianne, this is called, oh, the Bubbles cover plate. Thank you. I used the Bubbles cover plate for this one too. And I just did two little fish. So I put that fish down right onto the background. And then I put this seaweed in front of him. They're both taped right down to the card or glued right down to the card. And then this fish I popped up. So he's looking a little bit more closer to us. So, you know, that's the way to use the fishbowl.
Request for your nail polish color.
Oh, it's not a color. These are press-on nails. They're by Olive and June, and this is called Baby Starfish. That's the style, Baby Starfish. So I guess that's the color. Okay, so now I want to show you how to use these blade dies. Okay, so the blades are really fun because you can create the fun backgrounds that you saw in this card, like that. Just all in the teals. That's tranquil teal, turquoise sea, and ocean mist. So you could do that kind of thing. Or you could do it the way I did it in my sample here. full-blown, fun, funky rainbow. And remember, you can also separate them out like this over here so that there's spaces in between. Okay, so let me show you how to do it.
Question, Joy wants to know, would the best fish fit in the fishbowl? Wow, I need a fruit salad after that.
Yes, they would. They're pretty tiny, so they will fit in there. There's tiny enough ones in that set that will work in the fishbowl. I think that's the one by Deborah Warner, right? I think that's the set you're thinking of. Okay, so I'm going to get my other plates here because this is a lot of big straight cutting. So we have 3 different blades here off to the side. And the idea for this technique is to create a pattern that fits together like a puzzle. So since we already have seen this in action, let me do a rainbow because I think a rainbow would be fun. And we can always make a rainbow card because, you know, I love rainbows. I love bright colored cards. Okay, so I'm going to start, and I would recommend something that I didn't do on my sample card. I would recommend using one of these 2 and not this one for your top and bottom color. Okay, and the reason is because this big dip in here makes it hard to get a clean cut at the top. It cuts it just too close. So pick one of these 2 for your top piece. All right, so we're going to put this just like that. And we're going to cut. Patricia, I did get my ring back, finally. Okay. So now we have this piece. We're going to use this piece for our card. I'm going to lay this here. Now, the important thing is, first of all, to remember how this die was positioned, which is like that, okay? And then we're going to start our next piece with that same die. So now I need an orange color. And I'm going to use Sweet Mango. Let me just grab it out of here. Okay. Oh no, this is Tangerine Twist. I'm going to use Tangerine Twist. And I'm going to cut Tangerine Twist here. And then I'm going to pick a different die. So I can pick that big dippy die. And I'm going to put that down here. So this is the same one. Remember, this is the same one that we finished this one with for the top, and then a different one for underneath. Now, if you're worried about things, you know, shifting, you can always just tape them down with a little masking magic. Or you can use your magnetic mat. It's just these are going in straight, and sometimes over time it can warp the plate a little more. All right. So now, remember, you could just save all of these and use them for tons of other cards. Okay, and don't worry if you didn't cut it all the way. You could keep this for another card, and that could be the starting point, and you could work your way through the rainbow, like orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, pink, and then red at the bottom. So, okay, so now we've got this one over here, right? And then you can see that this is going to fit right in there. Don't worry if it doesn't line up on the sides. That was dumb luck that it did. It's not going to matter at all. So most of them don't match up on the sides. Some of them, they just start like, you know, just going completely off the paper. Okay, now, this was the last die we used, right, to get this cut. So this has to be the first die that we use on our yellow piece. So let me find a bright piece of yellow here. Why don't I have any wild dandelion? That's what I want to use. All right, let me find some wild dandelion here. I'm just going to cut one on the floor. All right. So this is the die we're going to start with. And now we can pick a different die. I don't think we've used this one yet. Or the cool thing about this is you think you have 3 dies. You actually have 6 because you can flip it around and get a completely different look. So we'll just pick that. And we'll do that. I do feel like, for some reason, I feel like I'll be more secure if I tape this down, though. I don't want it to shift. Okay. The wavy dies are in Master Layout 16, which is the die set that we're working on, Lynn. That's where you'll find these. So all the things that I'm showing you today use Master Layout 16, including these wavy dies, which can be used as waves, or they can be used as mountains, or just a fun background like I'm going to use today, or I'm going to do today. Now, this is the die that we ended with, so this is going to be the die that we have to start with next time.
Question. Betty wants to know, is there a playlist for just master layouts? Search for an older video on one of them and had to scroll and click trying to find it.
Just go to playlists. It's the first playlist on the channel, and it just says master layouts, and you'll see all of them there, including this one. I already put it into the playlist, so it'll be easy for you to find. It is there. All right, what color's this? This is good. This is Lucky Clover. Yep, all 16 of them are there now. Well, can you believe that we only have 4 more to go? I better get making some new master layout sets. Got some good ideas from a lot of you. All right, so this is the one that we finished this one with. Now let's get that real dippy one again. But instead of doing it the same way that we did this, let's flip it so the dip is up high like that. Okay. All right. Okay. Now we're almost there. And again, every single one of these can start the next one. So we can make tons of these. All right, so this is the one that we finished with, so I'm just going to put it down there so I remember. And that fits in there. So you see my puzzle is coming out very nicely here. All right, next we're going to do turquoise. So here is a turquoise sea. No, this is emerald. Ooh, emerald. Let's do emerald. I think emerald would be pretty in this rainbow. This has a piece of masking magic on it. I'll save that. I think emerald would be pretty next, don't you? Why not? Okay, so we've got to start this one. Emerald's got to start up here. And then we'll just pick another one. And we'll put it right there. So you can see how easy this is, right? Carol said, "Don't make too many master layouts too fast," because she's trying to keep up. Oh gosh. You know, some of these master layouts have been out for a while, like years and years and years. And for people that have been collecting all along, they get very excited when a new one comes. And I do too, because it just expands your card making ability quite a bit. All right, and that goes in there. And then we'll do a purple. I want to take a look, because I'm going to cut this out with master layouts too. So yeah, we need a purple. We need one more color. So I have purple. I'm sure I have purple. Ooh, here's one. This is wild lilac. All right, so we've got to use this same die that we finished this one off with. I'm going to put that here. And then we're going to finish off with another kind of more plain one, because we don't want it to dip up too high, or it might not work with the master layouts too when we cut it. But there's a trick to cutting this with master layouts too, and I'm going to show you. Well, the good thing is, even if we come out with a master layout set, we're not going to retire these, because these are such a staple in my card making that I could never retire them. So, you know, you can put it on your wish list, and when you're ready, it'll be there for you. And maybe by the time you're ready, there'll even be a video there to inspire you. Okay, so now I have all of these ready to assemble. So I'm going to assemble these first, and then we're going to bring the die cutting machine back. So let me show you what I mean. So I have just some plain, very thin text weight copy paper. It's super thin. The cheaper the copy paper, the better. I don't even know what's on that. There's some kind of... Do I want to put that on a card? I think that's... I probably had my sandwich laying on that earlier. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this out into a half sheet. All right? Just a half sheet of cardstock. Half sheet of copy paper. It's super thin. Remember, we have to die cut this with master layouts too. So we don't want to put this... First of all, it's very unruly to try to cut this out with a die, right? It'll be shifting all over the place. I guess you could tape it down, but if something shifts, ugh. And then we also don't want to layer these onto cardstock, because that's just going to make the cardstock way too thick. So by using copy paper, this is going to be the best way to do it. So I am getting tape on here, and I'm going to just tape these. And it doesn't matter if they're straight on the paper. It doesn't matter, you know, if they go off the paper. If yours aren't all lined up nicely, don't worry about it. It's going to be just fine. You just have to get them stuck down onto this copy paper very well. All right. So we want to make sure that we get it right up to the edge. Now you can do the little space between them if you want, and then that white will show through, and that's okay. But I'm going to show you this because this is, I mean, it's cool. It all fits in there like a puzzle, right? If you put it down correctly. I'm telling you, this is some thin paper. Let's try to put it down correctly. There we go. Okay. It's like doing a puzzle, Gina. You can do it. There we go. All right, there's layer 2. And then, I'm just checking my thing here. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing over here with this. I like to kind of just like push it into place and then press down on it. That helps a little. These are cool, aren't they? I mean, you're kind of creating your own design, your own wavy pattern here. And I would try this with like patterned paper, or making your own pattern papers. Maybe papers that you have just in your stash that you've created cool backgrounds, but you didn't know what to use them for. This design is enough to just add a greeting to, especially if you've got a lot of cool papers going down the card front. Okay, so you can see it's not perfect. It's kind of going off the edge here, but that's all right as long as these are all connected and look good. Alrighty. Getting a lot of tape on there because I don't want it to shift. And you could use glue too if that's easier for you. Just if you use glue, let the glue dry before you die cut it so that you don't get glue on your, like wet glue on your blade of your die. All right, and then we've got one more piece here, the purple. Okay, I know it looks like a lot of tape, but depending on where I cut this, I want to make sure that it's attached everywhere. All right. There's that. And that. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to trim off this edge because there is sticky glue sticking out there, and I don't want that to stick to my die cutting mat. So I'm just going to cut that off. And I'll do the same over here just in case there's anything that's weird. Okay. Now, we are going to die cut this with Master Layouts 2. Now, even this piece of copy paper can make it a little trickier when you're die cutting a big die like this. You might have to run it through back and forth, and you might have to, flip it over just to get good, good deep cutting. So I'm going to get Master Layouts 2, this one, and I want to make sure I get a little bit of the red at the top, a little bit of the purple. It can be over here more, whatever looks the best to you. You could figure out where you like it the best on here, and then you can cut it there. So I kind of like this right here. And to be safe, I am going to put a little piece of Masking Magic here and a little piece of Masking Magic there. And then I'm going to go ahead and die cut this. Now, just to be safe, I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to peek at it. Yep, it could use... it's cut pretty well. Maybe I'll cut it one more time just to be safe. Yeah, the zigzag patterns, Rianne, are really fun from Master Layout 6 to do this with, too. The mountains. Definitely a cool look. All right. And now we've got that perfect panel with all that cute little stitching around the outside. You can do it this way, whatever way you like. And then you just have the white copy paper on the back. So I love that background. I think that that's super fun and a great way to use this die set. Totally fun way to use the die set. Now we could make a really fun card if I've got a fun image. Let's see what I have in here. Do I have something bright and fun? It's kind of bright and fun. Just want to look and see what I have. Ooh, what about like something like that? Just a plain white design. I don't know.
Wow.
You like that?
I do.
Yeah, the white? Just the plain? I don't think I have anything else in here cut already, but I think that would work. We could do just a plain white design and a simple greeting. Something like that. Now I'm going to show you one more thing. I'm going to break out one more master layout set. So let me find it here. I'm sure it's in my bag that I took home. I just want to find this one. Master Layouts 18. Okay. So I think that I have to look at it. I just have to see it. Maybe I'm thinking something in my head. here's what I'm thinking. And I saw Karen Hightower do this. So total credit to Karen Hightower for this. She die cut a frame, but she did it on a 5x7 card. I shared it on my Instagram. It was beautiful. And she used Argita's Creative Day with the greeting that said, life is all about how you frame it, or something like that. And she cut a frame out of vellum, which I thought was so pretty. And it just made it like a little grounded. Like it was a nice way to ground the image. But I just want to see what it looks like. I don't know if I'm even going to do it. I just want to see what it looks like. Okay, I bent that a little, but that's all right. So, ooh, you know what though? I'll do the opposite. I'm not going to use the frame. I'm going to use the piece that fell out. I'll show you both, but I feel like I'll have better luck using the center, and I'll tell you why. Okay. So what she did, it was a 5x7 card, so she had this frame that went around it so you could still see the color coming through. Gorgeous, gorgeous card that she made. Look for it because she's pretty amazing. But I think what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to use this to ground my image, but you'll still be able to see the color coming through. You know what I mean? And then before I do that, I'm actually going to glue the images onto the vellum. And then once I've got the images on the vellum, I will turn it over and I will add my glue to the vellum behind the images so it will hide the vellum.
Frame.
I'm just trying to pull something off of this. Sorry. Okay. And I just want to see if I have one more of those flowers. I don't think I do. This one's a little bent because, see, this is the way I keep my die cuts. That's why everything's bent, because everything's a hot mess. I am a hot mess. I admit it. All right, we're going to use this one, even though it's a little bent. We'll make it work. All right, so hopefully my idea will work here. Okay. Let's just... See, this is what I was trying to get out. Not all of these were poked out. And I just needed to poke them all out because I don't want to get glue where I don't want it. Okay. So let's get some glue on here.
You know where that white flower is from?
Yes, it is from, I want to say, I'm going to guess here because you know I'm bad with names, but Brienne probably already linked it. I think it's the Botanical Duo die set. It's 2 different dies together. Let's see if I'm right. If you see Brienne, post it, Tom. Brienne's a rock star. You know, like, I don't even know what stuff is called, and she's got to figure out what I'm using, and then also figure out the link, and she's so good. Botanical Duo, okay. So I'm going to put this here on the vellum, like this. All right, there we go. Now, I'm going to, I could pop this up. I think I'll do that. That'll be easier. So I'll pop that up with some foam squares. See, she's got it. I knew she had it. I'm shocked that my brain remembered the name. It didn't come easy. I really had to close a few windows that were open. Do you guys feel like that? Like there's like a million windows open in your brain all the time, like you're a computer trying to remember everything. And okay. I do have the best team. I agree. Everybody's so wonderful and helpful. They make me look good. All right, so now I'm just going to pop this here like this. Now, to glue this down, I'm going to glue it where you can't see it. You know what I mean? I'm going to put glue in places that are hidden by this die cut. And it'll still look a little bit like flappy because I don't have it everywhere. Although, you know what I'm going to do? I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a couple glue dots in places where there isn't anything, and then I'll put embellishments on them on the other side if it needs to be tacked down more. But you see how I'm just finding those little spots like that. And I can put a lot of glue here. Okay. Then I'm going to add a couple little sequins. So I'll put a sequin here. I'll put a sequin here. I'll put a sequin here. I'll put one here. One here. One over here. 1, 2, 3. And one. I'll put one here. Okay, so that gives me some extra spots, right? Some extra glue spots. Now, I'm going to take this and I'm going to layer it onto my card front here, getting it even.
Wow.
Tacking it down. Now, see those those spots? They're going to be sequins, so I don't have to worry that they are shining through. So let me zoom in a little bit. There we go. Okay, so now we could put pearls, we could put sequins. I don't know if these are going to be big enough, but I think they will, and this might be the perfect sequin actually. Okay. That's why I didn't glue the frame down, because I think the way Karen did it is she added embellishments to every place on the frame, and that's how she prevented you from seeing that. And I didn't want to put embellishments on the frame because my frame would go right to the edge, where on her card, because she used that small frame and it was a 5x7 card, the frame was tucked inside the card. You've got to go take a look at her card. It's on my Instagram. You'll be able to see it. All right, so we'll hide that.
We have time here for words of the day?
We do. Well, I put the sequins on. That will be great. We need the word of the day.
Okay. So the situation, have you ever experienced, I'm sure you have, where you sit down at your computer and you got a big job to do. Big job to do. Sit down at your computer and you get a notice either from the software or the computer itself that they just did an upgrade and they're going to show you a tour.
Yes.
That's the situation. And this can apply to any time you're kind of you have to go on a tour when you really don't want to. You get to a restaurant, you haven't eaten in 12 hours, and somebody wants to tour the restaurant grounds. That is an example of torture. Torture.
That's very good. I like that.
Word of the day. And the second word of the day, very similar, where you can't just stop at one. If you leave your house to get milk right down the street and there's a roadblock in construction, unexpected, and you end up in a different city, that is detour-ture.
Oh my gosh. That's Wisconsin right now.
Detour-ture. Words of the day. Back.
They're very good words.
Back. Back to the dead space.
I love it. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, there is that fun card with a couple tips and tricks. Now, I would like to see that stick down a little better. I'm going to just put a tiny dot of tape there. I didn't even think it came off the tape runner. Just a tiny little bit. Let's see, there we go. You can't really see that because it's like right on the very edge. But that'll hold it down. Just right on the edge. Didn't get any there that time. There we go. I think that's good enough. Better than horrible. Maybe I'll do this one. I just have to run the tape runner a little because I'm using all the tape off of it without actually rolling it. Just for the corners here. There. Okay. And so there it is. And so you can't see any of the glue marks under that vellum. So that's, you know, that's kind of a fun little way to use this background and still be able to see it. Now, if I had known the card layout that I was going to do with this, I probably would have used like different shades of pink behind here, or maybe some different shades of turquoise and aqua, you know, sea glass and turquoise sea. But I really wanted to show you the rainbow so you could see how to do it. And it is fun to have that rainbow behind that that white and that vellum because you can really see the color. So here's a couple of the other cards that I made just so that you can see those different layouts. There we go. I also have this one too, but it's kind of the same card as this one. But Master Layouts 16, it is a must-have. I have had so much fun with this one and made so many cute cards along the way. And it is more than just a sea life set because flip this around, you can make a cute snowman design, a snow globe. We didn't get to that, but basically it's just this flipped upside down without this little piece. So once you see this come together, you know how to do it. All right, well, this was so much fun. If you like this video, and I sure hope that you have, if you wouldn't mind giving us a thumbs up, that really helps our channel. And also, if you're not a subscriber yet, come on and get subscribed. Hit the subscribe button and the all notifications so you never miss another video. And then, if you're not a member of our Facebook group, we'd love to have you over there. It's called Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends. So come on over. Look up that group and look for the group that has 49,000 members. There are a few groups that are trying to use our name out there, so make sure you join the right one. There's 3 questions that you have to answer and agree to our rules, and then come on over and share your Gina K Designs projects or get inspired by our many members that share their projects every day in the group. And then, if you'd missed any of the links that our amazing Brianne Loveland has been linking for you and you're looking for any of the products that you saw in today's video, you can find them on our website at ginakdesigns.com. That's also where you could find the downloads for these idea sheets and sizing sheets. Just hit the blog button and then templates and charts, and you'll find all kinds of templates and charts, including all the idea sheets for the Master Layouts die sets. Well, we're going to give away a gift card. Let's do it, Tom.
Let's do it.
Yeah?
Okay.
All right.
Drum roll, please. Today's winner is Kathy Solie. Kathy Solie.
Yay, Kathy! Congratulations, Kathy! All you have to do is send your name and email address to info@ginakdesigns.com. Let them know you won today's $15 gift card, and they will send you a digital gift card that you can use whenever you want. All right, everybody. Well, this was so much fun. Tom and I will be back next Tuesday night with another Stamp and Chat Live. Until then, everybody, enjoy your upcoming weekend. Stay safe and healthy. We love you all so very much, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.